Welcome to Stat Masters. I'm your host, Evan Ringler, and every week on this show, I will be bringing you 20 stats in 20 minutes to help you dominate your fantasy leagues. All the player stats that I mentioned in this video are pulled from PlayerProfiler.com. I personally use the data analysis tools to help me do all the research for these videos. Let's get started with number one. Among 21 wide receivers with 100 plus routes run, here are the leaders in target rate. We have Malik Neighbors at 34%, Amon-Ra St. Brown at 31%, and Devontae Smith at 27%. Yes, that is correct. Amon-Ra is 4% higher than any other high-volume receiver, and Neighbors is a whopping 7% higher. Both of these guys have been absolutely dominating in target rate. Let's move on to number two with Malik Neighbors. Among the 8 receivers with 50 or more routes run and a target rate of 28% or higher, Neighbors is the only one to have an average depth of target above 10 yards. This is why Neighbors laps the field in expected points per game. Despite this elite production, Malik is still third in unrealized air yards. This tells me that a quarterback upgrade in the future could unlock a game-breaking ceiling for Malik Neighbors. For number 3, we'll go to Neighbors' teammate, Wan'Dale Robinson. Among 51 receivers with 80 or more routes run, Wan'Dale ranks 4th in target rate at 30.1%. However, he's also dead last in depth of target with a mediocre yards after the catch per reception. This prevents him from being an every week starter, but he does make a nice high floor flex option in PPR leagues. For number 4, we'll go to the Dallas passing game. The Cowboys' defense ranks 28th in EPA per play through 3 games, while their offense ranks 29th in rushing success rate. The offense also ranks 7th in plays per minute over expected and 8th in plays per game per fantasy life. A very disappointing defense and run game should lead to pass-heavy game scripts. Combining this with a fast pace, and you have a great situation for Dak, CD, and Jake Ferguson. For number 5, we'll be looking at Ladd McConkey. Among 80 receivers with 50 or more routes run, Ladd ranks 7th in target rate at 29.3%. This comes in behind only Cooper Kupp, Rashee Rice, Malik Neighbors, Amon-Ra, Debo, and Deontay Johnson. All of these players have all proven themselves to be consistently elite target earners at the NFL level. McConkey also has a solid yards per hour run of 1.88. I think that Ladd will be a legit target earner in the NFL. While his offensive situation is likely to hold him back this year, I see him as a great target in dynasty leagues for the future. For number 6, we're looking at Courtland Sutton. Sutton ranks in the top 20 of both target share and air yard share. He's the wide receiver 9 in expected points per game. However, this is only translated to the wide receiver 56 in actual points per game. This is due to him scoring 0 touchdowns on 4 end zone targets this season. We should expect this to regress in the positive direction, as the Broncos have not thrown a touchdown pass yet this season. Before moving on to number 7, here's a quick word from the Podfather.
DFS getting harder every year, but we're here to make it easier with the DFS Dominator, because I know a lot of optimizers keep coming out. Oh, our optimizer. What about this optimizer, but that optimizer? Well, we have a cash game optimizer that leverages the projections from Dario, Billy, the award-winning projections at PlayerProfiler.com, and builds the best lineups for cash games that have both upside and stability, because that's what you want. It's a couple clicks, boom, boom, boom. You get the best possible lineup for your cash games. But for tournaments, traditional optimizers don't work. That's why we have a Lineup Genius, which takes you through the process of building lineups the way they should be built. Which quarterbacks you want to be overweight on, then building stacks, then setting run backs, then optimizing, and generating up to 150 lineups that you can easily import into DraftKings, into FanDuel. That's the DFS Dominator. It's only $45 a year, not a week, a year. Just go to Player Profiler, click on the DFS Dominator from the menu, and you won't be sorry.
Number 7, we're looking at Deontay Johnson. So far this season, Deontay has been the wide receiver 7 in expected points per game, but just the wide receiver 39 in actual points per game. He leads all receivers in red zone targets with 7, but has just 1 touchdown. With Andy Dalton under center, Deontay should be a high-end wide receiver 2 for the foreseeable future, as the Panthers are a fairly pass-heavy offense. For number 8, we're going to be looking at the Indianapolis Colts play volume. The Colts currently lead the league in plays per minute over expected by a wide margin. However, they somehow rank last in plays per game. Some of this is likely inherent to Richardson's boom-bust play style, but we should still expect to see significant regression in this area. Increased play volume should have a positive impact on the volume for Richardson and Taylor, with smaller impacts for the wide receivers who are admittedly weighed down by Richardson's inaccuracy. For number 9, we'll stay in Indianapolis with Jonathan Taylor. He currently has a 90% opportunity share, which is one of the best in the NFL. He also ranks first in breakaway run rate, despite seeing a ton of stacked boxes. When you combine this efficiency and workload with increased play volume, I think Jonathan Taylor could be a true league winner down the stretch this season. For number 10, we'll be looking at the Seattle passing game. The Seahawks currently rank 3rd in plays per minute over expected and 3rd in dropback rate over expected. So they're one of the highest teams in terms of pass rate. Seattle also has a much more challenging schedule over the rest of the season, which should lead to a ton of pass attempts for the Seahawks. Over the last 3 seasons, Geno is first among all quarterbacks in completion percentage over expected. I think we can safely rank DK Metcalf as a wide receiver 2 every week, and JSN as a solid wide receiver 3. For number 11, we'll be looking at the Atlanta run game. The Falcons are currently 2nd in plays per minute over expected, and they're 27th in dropback rate over expected. This means a ton of rush attempts in general for this offense. In addition, they also have the easiest schedule left by betting markets, which means that they will be ahead in games and forced to run the ball even more. I think that Bijan Robinson has a case to be the running back 1 rest of season, and Tyler Algier might be the best handcuff in all of fantasy. Algier also has some flex appeal in deeper formats. For number 12, we will be looking at Devin Singletary. Is he actually good? Coming into the year, I thought Singletary was just a guy that happened to be in a great situation last year. But this year, Singletary has ranked 3rd in juke rate, 6th in yards created per touch, 9th in breakaway run rate, and 6th in opportunity share. If Singletary can maintain this workload over the rest of the season, he should outperform expectations, and I think he could be a solid running back 2 the rest of the way. For number 13, we'll be looking at Najee Harris. Najee is underperforming versus his expected points per game more than any other running back in the league except for DeAndre Swift, who we know is horrible. Najee is currently 11th in target share among running backs. He is also playing on the run-heaviest team in the league with the best defense in the league. This should mean a ton of rush attempts for the offense, many of which will go to Najee Harris. This week, Jaylen Warren was also re-injured, while Najee looks ready to roll. It wouldn't shock me if Najee Harris was a top 15 running back the rest of the season. For number 14, we'll be taking a look at Austin Eckler. I think that Austin Eckler is actually not cooked. So far this season, Eckler is ranked 1st in yards per route run, 4th in juke rate, 8th in breakaway run rate, and 1st in yards created per touch. While his workload will keep his projection down, he has thrived in his role this year. If Brian Robinson was to miss time, Eckler would return to his running back 1 glory days. For number 15, we'll be looking at Zach Charbonnet. Zach Charbonnet is currently first in the NFL in evaded tackles, but he somehow has 0 breakaway runs. This is complicated by a terrible offensive line, but he has also faced a high rate of light boxes. Charbonnet is a reliable all-purpose back, but he doesn't have the elite explosiveness we want in fantasy. As long as Kenneth Walker is out, Zach Charbonnet is a must start. But when Walker returns, you should probably take Charbonnet out of your lineups. For number 16, we'll be looking at the Titans running back duo. Among 25 running backs with 30 or more routes run, Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears both rank in the top 5 of target rate. The Titans are also 5th in pass rate over expected, making these receiving stats even more tantalizing. This makes Pollard a must-start running back 2 at this point. If either running back were to get injured, the other would instantly become an elite option. For number 17, we'll be looking at Aaron Jones. Through 3 weeks, Aaron Jones is 2nd among all running backs in target share. He's also 10th in weighted opportunities per game in a good offense. He also ranks 9th in breakaway run rate and 5th in yards created. All of this is despite the 7th highest average box count among running backs. I see Aaron Jones as a back-end RB1, and I see Ty Chandler as an elite handcuff, but not much more at this point. Now we'll be moving into the tight end position. Number 18, Brock Bowers. Among 28 tight ends with 50 or more routes, Brock Bowers ranks 3rd in target rate, 1st in yards per route run, and 4th in expected points per game. With Devontae Adams out this week, I expect Bowers to absolutely smash. And rest of season, I think that Bowers has a legitimate claim at the tight end 1. For 19, we'll look at the tight end 1 in drafts this season, who was Sam Laporta. Through 3 weeks, Laporta ranks 5th in routes run. However, this is amounted to ranking 35th in target rate, 25th in yards per route run, and 26th in expected points per game. I still see Laporta as a great player, but the Lions are a run-first offense that has several other target earners. He is a back-end tight end 1 at this point, I would say, just due to the offensive success that they've seen. At number 20, we have Xavier Worthy. Through 3 games, he has ranked 78th in expected points per game, 75th in yards per route run, and 78th in target rate. This has been a horrible start to his career, despite the 2 touchdowns in week 1. I still expect Worthy to be unlocked at this point, but I would explore selling him in Dynasty if you can get that week 1 price, which I think you should be able to get in most places. Thanks for tuning in to Stat Masters this week, and I'll see you again next week for 20 more stats in 20 minutes.